All right, so now we have our box. We have our color-coded box, our clown box, whatever you want to call it. Let's take a look at what we're going to do with it. There's two kinds of exports that you can do out of this. You can do ZBrush, or you can do FBX, or you can do OBJ. If you do OBJ, you won't be able to get the colors the way we have them here, but if you do the FBX, you will. I'll show you real quick how to do both. So it's File. I like to do Export Selected. Okay, so I only have to worry about exporting. If you don't export selected, you're going to select it's going to export everything that's in the background too. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to week 3 and I'm going to say crate, clown crate, period. And then I'm going to look at these settings. I have smoothing on, I have tangents and binormal, turbo smooth, and even though I don't need that, and triangulation and preserve edge orientation, and I say OK. And it's done. Now I'm going to come over to ZBrush. Well, I'll show you the other settings too. So if I do it the other way, if I say export selected and I do not FBX but OBJ, which is another format ZBrush and game engines and Substance will take, I'm going to say same thing, clown box low. There. And then I'll say, oh, save. And then it's going to come up with this. I generally just leave it the same, so you know. Scales 1:1. And that's funny because we're going to talk about scale in a bit. But, all right, export. Now I've got both of them. Let me go over to ZBrush. If we look at ZBrush right now, I'm just going to do it the way that I want you all to do it. So yours should have, I'm sorry, I pushed that by accident twice there. Yours should have brush already over here. What we want to do is add Z plugins and just click on that and it pops it over there. Also, if this by chance is closed, you may see it like that. Just double click on it, it'll open it up. Now export. What we want to do is come to File, Export, Import. If you don't have anything drawn on the screen at this point, just drag anything out. You know, it doesn't matter. Once you drag one thing out, it's set. So one of the big problems that ZBrush has, actually, you know what, let's just import this in and we'll talk about that. I have ways of getting around it. I have methodologies I use, so we're just going to do it that way. But for now, let's do File, FBX, Export, Import, and then I'm going to say Options, open this up and make sure I have Import Mats to Polygons set, and I also have Export Mats to Polygroups to Mats, Import mats as polygroups, export polygroups as mats, and smoothing levels on. That's fine. I'm really only interested in this at this point, so I'm going to say import. I'm going to come over to the right folder, which is week 3. Go to Clown Crate and say open, and you'll see it imported it straight in. If I wanted to import the other one, I could grab any of these tools and then just come up here to import and then go to that same place, week 3, clown box. You'll see only OBJs are showing up, and then I'll say open. And it's going to come plain, and we'll just say do it like Z2. There we go. And this may have been what happened last time. So let me see something. No, it works fine too. But what I do want to show you is that I don't have polygroups on here. How do I know that? Because I went and did push this button right here. And if I have polygroups on, it'll show me what are polygroups. Okay, so let's get to the real deal. This is what a polygrouped thing looks like. Basically, it is those textures we put on in Max. If I come zoom in, they aren't the same colors. That's not the point. These textures all match exactly what I have over here, ignoring the tries and the way it made it. So that's what I wanted. I wanted all of these areas to be locked down because now I have the ability to what's called crease those objects. So instead of doing a high res with creases or with turbo smooth and then put support creases on there, I'm going to have the system do it for me. And don't be fooled, these two are different colors. They just look like they're the same or they're just green. It likes to use colors that are very close together for whatever reason. So the point is that I have these all defined, and what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the geometry menu, and inside the geometry menu we're going to come to the crease. I'm going to turn off Dynamesh here. Come to the crease, and you'll see there's a bunch of options for crease. And if we look at it, it says crease. And what that does is it doubles the edge, whatever edge you may have selected. In this case, we're not even selecting edges. It does a tolerance and all that stuff. Uncrease, and it'll clean one of them off. Crease, uncrease all, crease, uncreases all of them. And then crease by PG. Lo and behold, PG stands for polygroups. Polygroups are what are right here. There's other uses for them, and we're going to get into polygroups. They're very important. But for what our purposes is, for this simple thing, we just take those textures, we put them on here, we bring them in here, we say crease polygroups. Now, I could zoom in, but it won't make a difference. When I crease them, you're going to see every edge of color, not the interiors, just these edges, double, have these dotted lines around them. So watch. Bonk. So now every edge, and it doesn't matter if I zoom in because it's a virtual edge, every edge has a double thing. So every one that's on top of each other, this one has two and this one has two. So now we've got these built-in support edges. So if I turn off this F button, so that's the shortcut for turning this on and off, Shift F. If I turn that off and I say, let's divide it and see what happens, this is a turbo smooth button. If we do this, it's just like turbo smoothing. So what we expect to see is actually interesting. Oh, I must have undone it. Let me actually do one more thing. What I usually do when I bring a box in is I duplicate it, or an object in, because I want to have one that's the original and one that's the one I'm going to export as the high res. That way I know they're the same size, and I told you we'll get into size in a few minutes. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just before, this one has, if we go back in here, you'll see, oh wait, this is the wrong one. Let's just delete this so we don't get confused. That's one of the things I do suggest you do, is delete stuff so you don't get confused. So I have this crate. I'm going to dupe this crate, so it's that. Now I'm going to go turn these both off, so when I select one or the other, they are different. Hey, not that. Okay, so what I want to do is take this new one, which is the secondary one, and we're going to rename it to high. And we'll rename this to low. And then I'm going to go back down to the geometry menu and uncrease all. So all those double edges go, just because I want to show you what happens if I do divide it. It's like polygons. It's like editable poly. It's like turbo smooth. It just doubled everything now. Our numbers are weird and stuff. Our edges are weird. But we're going to go up one level, and if you push the up, you actually went to the next one. See, I went up and down, if you do the up and down arrows. I'm going to come up to this one, and I'm going to say geometry, and I'm going to say make sure it's the creased one. Yep. And now that it's creased, if I come into geometry and divide it, I'm going to turn off this. It doesn't seem to do anything. Did it crease it? Oh yeah, it's twice. Look at it, it's 15K now. If I go back one level, it's 2K now, it's 15K. I'm going to do it again. Control D or push the divide button one more time. Now I have 4 of these creases, so is that really bigger? Well look, it's 207,000 polys now, or tries now. Or no, it's polys. So yes, it's definitely bigger, but it's still got that crease on. And if we want to have soft edges, we need to fix that. So I think I actually did it one more time, but let's test it and see. The great thing about this is we have undos forever. Turn that off, and I'm going to say uncrease all. So now my creases are gone, and now when I divide, I get soft edged stuff. Now, that's why I did one more. Let me do that one more time. I'll make sure it's creased. I've got my creases back on. I will divide one more time, and then I'm going to turn my creases off, and then I'll divide one more time. And I get these nice smooth edges. Just beautiful. It's a happy tree. Okay? So, now, what we could do, it's 3.2 million now. It's a lot of polygons, but it doesn't matter. This is fine. This is what we can use instead of every program we use, and that's all we're looking for. So that's our first step. That's the thing we're going to do. I'm going to show you a couple more videos real quick about now sculpting on this and the options we have, and then we'll do one on scale.